Gunshots, 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 gunshots. P. Diddy is firing back. P. Diddy is firing back at the feds. That's what it is. P. Diddy said the feds are sabotaging his case whereby screwing up with his jailhouse laptop. We're going to get into that. I'm going to break it down. Do y'all think Diddy deserve or should have a laptop? When you first hear that Diddy's saying that he's taking it to court, that he should have a laptop and access to a laptop, what do you think? Because that's what this video is going to break down, because that's what the new motion that he's filing, which is a very good motion. And I know y'all say, what do you need with a laptop? You want to go on Facebook, Instagram, and indict the witness, and da-da-da? And that's how you civilians think. Round of applause to you. But us criminals know that he needs his laptop. And I'm going to break it down why in a minute, but make sure you cop my man Lou Sims' book, Harlem Legend, and make sure the QR code works on the screen. Take a picture of it. And remember, Cashbox is coming out in the first quarter in January. I'm down with that. I'm going to show you something real powerful with Cashbox. Cash App been robbed. I'm going to get in it. Let's get this party started. All right. All right, so that's what it is. This is my man Jesse Weber, right? I love this dude. He does a beautiful commentary breaking down the videos from a legal point of view, but unique. Make audio over here. We ride. We tell stories similar to how I've been through certain situations to justify how I know this, because I served 26 years in federal prison, if you don't know. And I also have another YouTube channel called Mecca Audio TV. Please go subscribe, hit the notification bell over there, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that Unique is. All right. Now, let's get this thing going. Let's see what Jesse Weber got to say. We want to know if Diddy's allowed to have his laptop. That's what his lawyer's filing with. Talking fast, because I'm talking to my people. The ones that feel I'm talking too fast, that means that you're not really from the hood. So I'm not going to slow this down, talk slow as crap, to bore the crap out of you. I'm going to keep this moving, because this is my life. Got it? Got it?
All right, so Sean Combs' legal team has just raised, I would say, a new issue, sort of new issue to the court, and we're going to address it right now. And it concerns, of all things, believe it or not, access to a laptop while he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC, where he's currently locked up while he's waiting trial next year. And before I even go into the defense's letter, I said it was new, but really, this is an issue that has come up before. You see, Sean Combs' defense lawyers, they have argued that the conditions at the MDC make it incredibly difficult for him to properly review evidence in the case and prepare for trial. And yes, he has a constitutional right to prepare for his trial. But they have been arguing for quite some time that because of the incredible amount of material in this case, you really can't do it without a laptop. He needs a laptop to review everything. I mean, this is a massive case.
What do y'all think about that so far from what you're hearing? Let's walk through this. Do you think Diddy should or deserve to have a laptop, or he should or should not have it? I'm just proposing the question as I walk through this, and then I'm going to give you the reasons why. The prosecutors give you the reasons why not. And that's the way this works. You're sitting in a unique trial, and you're the jury. Let's go.
Combs is accused of sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, transportation to engage in prostitution, and they are looking at him allegedly operating a criminal enterprise from 2008 to 2024. That is a long, long time period. And when he was first arrested, prosecutors at the time, they said they interviewed more than 50 victims and witnesses. They obtained over 90 cell phones, laptops, over 30 electronic and storage devices, firearms, physical evidence, records that were obtained pursuant to over 300 grand jury subpoenas and voluntary production. Think about how much stuff there is.
Yo, did he sound like a still? You see all these charges they charge with? How did he do this while he was being a mogul and making $1 billion? Yo, I can't wait till this trial. Diddy, don't plead out. We want to hear this, man. Let this play out like the movie it is. You know, go out like a G, dog.
So it is a massive case with a lot of evidence. And in fact, this was an issue that Combs' team had raised when trying to get him bail. They argued, look, he can't review all of this material in the MDC, so he needs to be released on home confinement immediately. Unfortunately for Sean Combs, that argument was rejected by the judge overseeing this case, Judge Arun Subramanian. In fact, in Judge Subramanian's order denying Sean Combs' bail, pretrial release, he wrote, given Combs access to counsel and documents, there was an issue with Combs receiving a laptop for the purposes of reviewing discovery, but the court addressed that. The firm deadline for the government's discovery, the end of the year, and the time left before trial, over 5 months, Combs has not carried his burden of demonstrating that release from detention is necessary for trial preparation purposes. And with respect to that laptop, the prosecutors in a pretrial hearing actually addressed that. Prosecutor Christine Slavic reportedly told the judge that Combs will be provided a laptop at the MDC and it will be preloaded with information that he is allowed to have and see.
Now, you see how everybody was saying, I can't believe in the comments, I know it's in the comments if y'all kept it gangster. I can't believe he asked for a laptop. Why would he want a laptop? They ain't no even a laptop. He's a criminal. He's a this, he's a that. There's no way he's supposed to get a laptop. But we're going to break down why he's allowed to have a laptop. So sit back and I'm going to walk you through this so you don't tune off and think it's just a bunch of legal jaggery. All right.
So with all of that in mind, now we want to get into the defense's letter that was just filed this week. And they write the court, they write Judge Subramanian saying the following, quote, we write on behalf of Mr. Combs to request that the court direct the MDC to provide Mr. Combs with the laptop prepared for him by the government and allow him to use that laptop on his unit consistent with the way other inmates on his unit are permitted to use their laptops.
You heard that? Before y'all say, oh, Diddy getting special privileges, Diddy running to jail. Diddy can't spend a dime because they got so much cameras on him, he can't even fart without them seeing it. You know what I mean? Diddy can't even fart without them seeing it on camera. And you simple mothers are thinking Diddy running to jail because you listen to these YouTubes. Listen, they got so much police around the cell and every cop is a bastard at that time. Because every cop is not a rat bastard. And a cop is not a rat because you can't say a cop is a rat because he's doing his job by locking your ass up, whatever color, race, or creed. So we're not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is when you got the police supposed to be watching them and they seeing how they can get in close to hear what he got to say, what he's offering, how much money he's putting up, and what he could be able to do. And then now they thinking that they're going to get over with something, and then they do something, they tell their comrade, yo, I bought Diddy a Snicker bar. And he gave me $5 on Cash App. I'm like, whoa, yeah? Now, they say, that's slick. I'm going to see what I can get out of him. Now, they go try and talk to Diddy. Diddy see him. They don't even look right. So he's like, nah, I'm not really feeling your vibe. Nah, I'm not interested in nothing. I'm not trying to break the rules. But that cop already know that he broke the rule with his man. Because his man ran his mouth and told him. And that's how people always get told because you always tell somebody. Only secret is one kept with yourself. Once you open your mouth and tell someone else, it's no longer a secret. So don't come to me and tell me, yo, I want to tell you this secret, but this between me and you. Nah. If you come to me with that, that means you already went with somebody else with that and you done started spreading this rumor because you ain't nothing but a rat bastard. A gossiping rat bastard. So you understand. But we don't do that at the Mecca. Let me get back to this real quick. But that's where we at so you understand. If I left off somewhere, let me think. I want to hold y'all up. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. It's on the screen. Make sure you hit the Cash App. It's on the screen. Hit the icon. Make sure it was created in July 2020. And let's get back to this. And Cashback coming in January. Cashbox coming in January. Big shout out to Omar Ellison and Ramaya Tyler for putting this project together. Omar Ellison and Ramaya Tyler, thank you. Round of applause to you too. All right, I can't say nothing more about it, but just be on the lookout for Cashbox. And remember, Unique is the first one that told you that at Unique Mecca Audio.
2 months after he was charged and detained on November 25th, 2024, the government provided the MDC with a laptop that Mr. Combs can use to review discovery, take notes related to his case, and otherwise assist in his defense. In the 9 days since then, Mr. Combs has still not been provided with the laptop despite numerous inquiries by defense counsel.
See, what they're saying, right? Hey, Diddy. What they're saying, right, is that the government still ain't giving him his damn laptop. He's supposed to been got his laptop. The government is going to obviously tell the court, man, there's a lot of stuff we got to put in. Don't forget, we got terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of stuff. You know what kind of storage we got? Imagine how much storage you got to have in a computer to have, 8 terabytes of video footage, as they say they have. And then he pressed him, let him know, I want my laptop. Everybody else got their laptop. And then he be patient, man. You know what I mean? They going to get to your laptop. Believe me, they going to get to your laptop. But Diddy want it now because he Diddy and he's spurled. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's not spoiled. He's spurled. You know what I mean? Diddy's spurled. Do you think Diddy's spurled and not put it in there? Look at him. Come on, Diddy. They got to put all that terabyte up in that joint. That's a lot of downloading to get. They say they got either 8 terabytes or 92 terabytes. Even if it's 8 terabytes, come on. My computer that I got running this joint only got 4 terabytes. And you're talking about 8 terabytes, and I ain't nowhere near filling that up yet. So Diddy, your ass in a lot of trouble, my man. They got 8 terabytes of you freaking off, allegedly.
And Combs' lawyers double down because they say this morning, and this was filed on December 4th, by the way, they say this morning the government gave them only 2 options. One, Sean Combs will only be provided with the laptop in the unit's video conference room during select times when legal staff is available and when that room is not otherwise being used during other inmates' legal calls. Or 2, he will only be provided with the laptop in the legal visiting room between the hours of 8 and 3:30 p.m., but not both. So not both. Now, Sean Combs' lawyers objected to this. They say these restrictions are, quote, untenable, they're unjustified, and they argue it seems to only be placed on Combs, that these restrictions were not placed on other inmates in his unit or on.
See, Diddy's saying that everybody else allowed to have their laptop. Everybody's letting do what they want to do with their laptop. I can't get my laptop. I want my laptop. I want my laptop. I want my laptop. I'm Diddy. I'm Diddy. I'm Diddy. And they say, yo, Diddy, you don't know how long they had to wait for their laptop. They ain't saying nothing about how long they had to wait for their laptop. Diddy just saying, I want mine now, and I got money to pay a lawyer, go in there and scream. Take this money and go in there and scream. All right.
On his unit. And they say the problem is this limits the amount of time he has to use the laptop because he's going to either be forced to choose between using the laptop or meeting with his attorneys. He only has limited time. And Combs' lawyers say essentially if this is about security or privacy issues with what he's viewing, the material doesn't contain any evidence designated as attorney's possession only, meaning that it should only be disclosed to attorneys in this case. The defense is arguing that this won't endanger the safety or privacy of any alleged victims or witnesses in the case, and they say there's no reason to believe Combs is going to show this stuff to other inmates. And then they write this. Moreover, given the government's efforts to surreptitiously monitor and record his handwritten legal notes, Mr. Combs' need for a laptop to take legal notes free from government surveillance is heightened. Now, that is in reference to what happened a few weeks ago when the defense accused the government of possibly violating Sean Combs' rights by having in their possession photographs of paperwork in Combs' jail cell that they say might have been privileged writings. That is a whole separate issue that Judge Supermax has been working through to see whether or not privileged material was improperly photographed and handed over to the prosecution. But even so, they brought it up again here as a little kind of sting to the prosecution. But in the same vein, the defense also writes in the letter, in addition, last night, defense counsel learned that the MDC has been providing the prosecution team, and not via the filter team, copies of MDC attorney visitation forms. By the way, a filter team is kind of this independent group of examiners who take evidence, take documents and materials, and they literally filter out what could be privileged and that shouldn't be disclosed to the other side. An example is attorney-client communications. So
now, they call that in legal terms exculpatory evidence. Exculpatory evidence or inculpatory evidence. Exculpatory evidence is evidence that could X you out of the crime. Let's ride. That comes from a case in 1963 called Brady versus Maryland. I'm going to give you a little scenario so you kind of get it, but I'm going to put Brady in my little scenario so you understand. Brady works on a garbage truck. While he's on the garbage truck, he finds a gun. When he picks a bag up, the gun falls out 6 in the morning. He picks the gun up and he tells his friend, man, I got to turn this in. And he tells his boss, hey, boss, can I go turn this gun in? I just found this gun. The boss said, nah, we got a lot of garbage to pick up. Pick this garbage up. So he puts the gun in his pocket and then he go pick the garbage up and then he go home with the gun and he takes a shower, you know? And then something happens and the police catches him with the gun while he's on the way to the police station to turn in the gun and charge with possession of gun. And he tells them, no, when I got the gun, when I found the gun, went home and then I took a shower because I'm a garbage man and I was taking a gun to you. And they said, no, we caught you with the gun. That's a lie. So they lock him up, but he even gave a statement to that. You know, when he said that, that was it. But then now he goes to trial, and before he go to trial, they find a statement that somebody wrote saying, his man that was on the truck wrote saying that, yeah, he showed me the gun. The boss said he showed me the gun and he asked me if, you know what I mean, he should turn the gun in or keep working. I told him to keep working. You know what I mean? He kept working and then he left. But then they take that paper and they hide that paper from him and his defense team. So when he goes, he's saying, no, it wasn't mine. I found it on the truck. I found it on the truck. And then he goes to trial, he blows trial, and then after trial, he discovers the paper because his man that worked on the truck, he said to his man, yo, why you ain't say something? You know I showed you the gun. He said, I did say something to the police. So he got his lawyer down there to go look at those dating the records, and he finds the paper where he actually said something to the police, but the police never turned that over to the defense. So that becomes exculpatory evidence, evidence that could have exculpated him from the case, that could have freed him from the case. That's why my number is on the screen. If y'all need your legal advice, no, don't call me and expect to get legal advice for nothing, because ain't nothing in America, nothing. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. 917-680-9091. Cashbox coming soon. Everything is worth it. Remember that. But, you know, so he goes to trial. They free him from they lock him up. And when they lock him up, he's fighting appeal and he gets that paper and he files that paper. And the name of the case was Brady versus the state of Maryland. And he won that case, went to Supreme Court. And that's where that law came from, where you hear them say, oh, they got to disclose Brady material. All right.
So the defense writes, who Mr. Combs meets with in connection with his legal defense, including potential experts and investigators, is potentially privileged. Even if not privileged, this level of surveillance offends due process and hampers his ability to prepare his defense. Hey, before we go any further, I have to thank Morgan and Morgan for sponsoring.
So I just want y'all to understand how this is going. I try and break it down the best I can to make sure y'all understand this breaking news. Diddy is filing right now as we speak to get his laptop. His laptop has the evidence on it that they all downloading files the same way we go on Google, Pacer, Safari, and we look up documents because they don't give you the physical papers no more like they did back in my days. So that's what Diddy's doing now. Diddy's fighting to get, you know, his laptop with his stuff in it. Government taking long. I say, Diddy, it's a lot of stuff. Be patient, relax, but you got the bag. You can keep them moving. That allow you to get a visit, to get out the cell, to not have to sit there dealing with the people around you, listen to their crap, especially if they got you locked in 23 hours a day like they did, you know, me during my era. All right, let's get to this.
And they are asking the court to order the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, to provide Sean Combs this laptop and to allow him to use it in his jail unit, and to also stop sending these attorney visitation forms to the government, to the prosecutors. Well, as you can imagine, not surprisingly, the prosecution responded, and they argue that what the defense is asking for is premature and moot. They write, pretrial defendants housed at MDC review discovery during designated hours using computers within their housing units. In exceptional cases, particularly those with especially voluminous discovery, courts in this district have permitted certain pretrial defendants to access laptops preloaded by the government with discovery materials so that those defendants can prepare for trial while in custody. And the prosecutors cite other cases to support that. And they say, look, the MDC informed us that out of approximately 25 other inmates in the defendant's unit, in Sean Combs' unit, only 3 other inmates are actually allowed to use laptops. So in other words, Combs, he is in a unique position. He is being granted kind of an advantage here in a way. But the government caught.
That's not no advantage. Listen, let me explain to y'all, man. Let's ride. Let's ride. Hold on, Jesse. Sit back, listen. Let's ride. Let's ride. All Combs, as he said, I call him Diddy, right? Or Puff. All Diddy Puff Combs is asking for is the same thing that we was allowed to have then and they're allowed to have now, which is access to the transcripts and the evidence to your hearings and that they intend to use against you. Back in my days, we had cassette players and they'd give us little cassettes. No one else in the jail was allowed to have a cassette player unless your case was that big that they gave you the cassettes or you had cassettes in your case that the government wanted to transfer the audio so you could listen to it in jail. So they'll record it from their recording device so you could hear the cassette of the tape recordings, meaning what they call in the movies you all watch, the bug. You know how they bug the phone and dude on the phone talking. Well, if that's the evidence in the case, they put it on a cassette. When they put it on a cassette, they give the cassette to the lawyer gives it to the jail, and in the jail get with the marshals, and then the marshal gives them a cassette player and tell them what hours he's allowed to use it, or they just give it to him, tell him he can keep it in his cell. 9 times out of 10, they tell you keep it in the cell because they don't want to be running back and forth. You saying, I need this tape, I need that, I need this, and they doing something. So you got a cassette player in your cell, but then now, we ain't gonna get into all that. But there's a lot of things that can happen with that once you get that cassette player in the cell. Because we don't really want to just listen to that. We want to hear some guy, Teddy Riley, you know what I mean? The number one y'all dudes, y'all used to love to hate, R. Kelly, you know what I mean? You know, we want to hear some music. Because this was back in, the early 90s. So, of course, then we try to get police to bring us cassette tapes so that now we can lay down at night and go to sleep, listen to some music, get some rap music, might get a little Scarface was popping back then. And matter of fact, when I got locked up, right, let me ride only for a quick second. When I got locked up, Snoop Doggy Dogg's first album just came out. Snoop Doggy Dogg's album was out 2 weeks before I got locked up and went away for 26 years. That's why I tell the youth it ain't worth it. I come home and Snoop is this big star. Live this lavish life. And then all of a sudden now, they're saying Snoop is a freaking off with Diddy. Did y'all see some of these YouTube stuff they got out here? So don't mind me if I play it. I like to play it and then give my little commentary so we can have fun watching it together as a team over here at Unique Mecca Audio. That's what we do. And I give you my input, just like I'm breaking this down about, this laptop with my man, Jesse. Let's play this back. You got where I'm at, and I'm ready to go out.
Cautions. Look, even if he's being provided a laptop, normally a general rule of practice is that comes with limitations. That comes with restrictions, like how long an inmate can use the laptop and where they can use it, and not to copy or transfer material to other people. To support that, the prosecutors cite a case where a defendant was allowed access to discovery materials on a laptop, but Monday through Friday in the MDC visiting room for 10 to 15 hours per week. So there were limitations put there. Now here, prosecutors say, look, we agreed to give Sean Combs a laptop. We started producing evidence for him to review on there. But the majority of the documents on there, they're sealed, meaning the defendant can see it and he can review it, but only when he's in the presence of Bureau of Prison personnel or law enforcement personnel or his defense attorneys.
Now, so you understand why they saying that. They saying that he could only look at it with the law, personnel, involved around, because they don't want him to go show it to somebody else. Say, look, this dude ratted on me. He on your case or he on my case. Or this happened over here. Let's get together and we tell on them what they say on your laptop. Let me make that match with my laptop. And then I'll call the prosecutor and tell them that I help bring him down too. And they use it for good and bad. It's supposed to be used to keep you out of jail and see your evidence. You can work with your lawyer on the case. But some dudes use it and they show who's telling on their case from the evidence. Because that's all it is the evidence. So if they got statements from dude that might have said, yeah, Diddy had a freak off and he put an egg between his crack like Suge Knight said, you know what I mean? And Diddy could say, I can't believe such and such said that. Yo, let me use your pack number so I could call and tell somebody go check that dude. And that's what they accused him of. Just as simple as that. See, I rolled that in real good. I want to end this psycho party tonight, man. All right?
And they say, according to the MDC, and remember, prosecutors are deferring to the MDC a lot here. They're the ones who have the responsibility of housing Sean Combs and ensuring security and privacy and any kind of those issues. But they say, look, according to the MDC, Combs could use the laptop in the unit's visiting room or in the video conference room. But again, in both choices, there are certain hours he can use it. It has to be within a certain time frame. And also, it can't be within the presence of other inmates. Now,
that way he can't show other inmates who's ratting or who's not ratting or what he might want the other inmate to corroborate that he had going on as well.
There was a third option for him to use it in his own unit from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., even if there are other inmates around. The prosecutor said that doesn't work here.
Man, that's what they used to do the cassette player. If they gave us limited time to use it, they'll bring it in and we'll go in there and the homies will play the recordings from their tape to say, man, look how this was talking about me like I was a scumbag. And he sit here now, he working with the feds and I can't do nothing because you already know it's against the rules to tell. But when I catch him, or if you, my man, when you catch him, you better break his. And if I catch the dudes that told on you that I just listened to your tape with, I'm going to break it. And I'm going to make sure my comrade there in another jail, I'm going to send a kite to that jail to track your rat. And you do the same for me. But we don't say it, but that's just the way it play out. So you understand. All righty?
Because these are sensitive, sealed materials talking about the names of alleged victims and witnesses and travel, financial records of other people. And this would violate the protective order that has been put in place by Judge Subramanian, which protects against certain information from being disclosed to third parties. So it's just too much of a risk. So prosecutors say, look, he's got these two options. These are two viable options. And they also say, look, in response to Sean Combs' lawyer's argument, well, this puts an unreasonable time limit on how he can review the material. They say, tell you what, let's see how this goes. If there is a problem, we can address it at another time. If he is being split between time to see his defense attorneys and review this laptop, then we'll come back and review this. But what the defense is asking for now, for the court to step in, they argue, prosecutors argue, it's just premature.
Yo, listen, man. See, that's a bunch of crap. That's how I feel about that statement. When I was locked up for my 26 years, they didn't try to accommodate all that. So he asking for a lot. Diddy, you asking for a lot. But, you know, you feel like a diva right now. You asking for a lot, Mr. Diva. Because when I was locked up, I'm in the shoe. I'm locked in 23 hours a day in ADX Supermax. Only time I got out that cell was to go to rec or if I had a legal call or legal visit. Now, I'm supposed to listen to, you know, when I come out for that 1 hour, right? I got to do everything, not in ADX. Let me take that back. You know what I mean? In a regular USP, medium, or whatever, right? Because in ADX, you only get an hour out. That's it. And you got to shower in the cell. That's why I paused that. But in a regular joint now, you don't have a shower in the cell, right? You're just in a unit because it's an old jail, so there's no showers in the cell. So when you come out for that hour, in that hour, you got to use the phone, use the computer, call your lawyer, or wash your. That simple. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. I had to do everything within an hour. Take a shower, use the phone, use the computer, use the this, use the that. And they're giving you a lot of room right here, Diddy. You know, it's 2024, so maybe they changed, but that's how they carried us back then.
We are doing two things simultaneously. We're giving him access to review evidence in this case, and we are also protecting the material from being disclosed. And also, in response to the defense's argument that the MDC stopped sending prosecutors the attorney visitation forms, the government argues first, These forms simply say that an attorney visited his client. That's not privileged. Number two, Sean Combs can complain about us reviewing these visitor logs or these visitation forms because it was he who made access to his attorneys an issue in this case when he was arguing for bail. Namely, that when there was that sweep for contraband at the MDC, you remember we talked about that? There was that pre-planned sweep at this facility looking for all sorts of illicit materials like the homemade weapons, and there was electronic devices. Well, remember, Sean Combs' defense counsel had argued at the time, and this is what's brought up by prosecutors now. They said, look, this sweep delayed in us being able to meet with our client. We lost time in trial preparation. In other words, prosecutors saying, you're the ones who brought up this issue of meeting with your client, access to your client. So now these visitation logs are important. They're important in us addressing that. And number three, they say this argument about that they shouldn't be entitled to having the visitation forms. They say, look, we don't plan on collecting any of these forms unless Sean Combs continues making it an issue of how often he meets with his attorneys. Oh, and by the way, they also talk about one more thing in their letter. They completely reject Sean Combs' argument that, look, he needs the laptop to take notes about his case. Prosecutors.
Before we go into that, right? We see how this is bull. What they just said that Diddy got and I'm probably gonna forget it real quick. It was just so stupid. You know what I mean? But I gotta play it back because that was some stupid crap they just said, man. Hold up. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. Let's do this.
Plan on collecting any of these forms unless Sean Combs continues making it an issue of how often he meets with his attorneys.
All right, right there. What the prosecutor is saying is that the jail is complaining that Diddy's lawyers is coming too much. Diddy has special privileges because everybody's lawyers only come between 8 and 3, and Diddy's lawyers come between 8 and 11 at night, and they come every day, and they constantly coming, and we got to keep pulling them out the cell when we got to feed all the inmates, give them their bedding, they this, they that, but Diddy just got them coming like crazy. His lawyers live here. We can't get a chance to do our work to run the orderly security running of the prison because Diddy got us doing his work of bringing his lawyers in. So they collect the forms and they send the forms from every time you get a visit to the prosecutor so they can accumulate them and then write a motion to the judge and tell the judge that Diddy's lawyers coming too much to fight for his freedom. You see how crazy this is? They're going to try to limit the access of his time to his lawyers because he could afford to pay lawyers to come 24 hours around the clock. You're supposed to have free access to your lawyer at all times. So if your lawyer want to come 1 in the morning, he's supposed to be able to come 1 in the morning, get him up. They don't do it, but that's how that works. But they're collecting the forms to show that, man, this man wants special privilege. He want to spend all day in the attorney thing because he don't want to do his time. He want to feel like he's on the street. And I think he's using the lawyer to relay messages outside to run further crime and integrate with witnesses.
Oh, and by the way, they also talk about one more thing in their letter. They completely reject Sean Combs' argument that, look, he needs the laptop to take notes about his case.
Diddy, you need a laptop to take notes. Everybody else use a government legal pad that looks like paper like this. Stop it, Diddy. Write it on the paper like everybody else. Nah, you're doing a little too much.
Prosecutors say, no. That goes beyond the intended purpose here. To allow him to do that, they say, would create unjustified disparities between Combs and other defendants who don't get that treatment. He can't use this laptop just to take notes. That's not fair. So that was the prosecution's response to the defense. But now we have a follow-up response from the defense, and the battle of the laptop and visitation continues. So in their subsequent letter to Judge Subramanian, Combs' lawyers say, quote, first, contrary to the government's argument, Mr. Combs' reasonable request for laptop access is consistent with the way other inmates in his unit access their laptops. Other inmates are permitted to use their laptops in the unit, notwithstanding the fact that their laptops also contain sealed material subject to protective orders. There is no reason to treat Mr. Combs differently. And they cite cases in support of that, although I'll tell you what's interesting. By the way, a little legal primer here. In legal letters like this, correspondent briefs, complaints, anything, when you cite a case, you cite the case, the name of it, you cite the citation where it can be found, some of the details like the court, the year, and then in parentheses, there's a brief snippet that you're quoting about, whether it's a specific quote or the holding of the case, the main point that you want to say, why is this case relevant? I thought it was interesting here that in the brief description of each case that they cite, it doesn't say anything about using a laptop in a private unit or about sensitive materials per se. It's just about how defendants were able to more liberally use laptops. Just thought that was interesting. Anyway, next, Sean Combs' lawyers say that it is a...
He's just trying to roll with the prosecution. Stop the crap, man. The man fighting for his life. Are you talking about how much time he get to look through his legal papers when he's fighting for his life and his fortune and his wealth and his corporations? Welcome to the justice system, y'all. That's why I say don't get involved, man. You're not going to win. It's not even worth it, man. You get over for a minute, but it ain't worth it.
Absurd that prosecutors are saying Combs can't take notes on the laptop because he could take notes on the discovery on the laptop, and taking notes on discovery on the laptop is the same thing as taking legal notes about the case, that he should be able to do that on the laptop. And they follow up and double down, saying that he has a right, especially since his legal notes, they alleged, were improperly photographed. That's the issue that I talked about before. And they argue if he has to keep taking handwritten notes, it, quote, subjects them to further surveillance by the government, and that is unjustified. But they also say Sean Combs is being treated differently. They argue that that would be, quote, inconsistent with how other inmates in his unit have been using laptops to create and share work product in their cases with their lawyers. And you know who Combs' lawyers actually cite in support of that? Sam Bankman-Fried. Remember him, the crypto fraudster? They argue that in that case, there was a laptop, and it was said that that laptop would enable him, presumably the defendant, to review materials and share work product with counsel through the exchange of hard drives. And Sean Combs' lawyers say, look, if they don't get what they're asking for in the end right here, then this would infringe on Combs' constitutional rights. More specifically...
All right, so y'all understand what's going on, right? Sam Bankman-Fried and Diddy in the same unit, right? Diddy having a problem getting his laptop, and Sam say, yo, you get your laptop yet? I want to see who you got on the free calls. I want to see what evidence they got. And he's like, nah, they ain't give it to me yet. And Sean's like, nah, they got to give it to you. Well, they saying I can only use this amount, that amount, that amount. And Sean said, no, that's a lie, because they let me use mine. So you can quote my case. And that's how we do in prison. Now, Diddy has a comrade in prison. Sean Bankman-Fried told Diddy, you can quote my case. Because in my case, they allow me to do this, allow me to do that. So stop it. You quote my case. All right.
It seems they're talking about his due process rights and his right to assistance of counsel in a case. So there you have it, little tangential update in the case, little side issue. I don't know. I find even minor battles interesting, even if it's about a laptop, interesting to see the back and forth between Sean Combs' defense counsel and prosecutors. Kind of gives us a preview of maybe what a trial will end up looking like. But
yeah, right. You see this? I'm not really, you're telling about every little fight. You know what I mean? Every little fight. Ain't no little fight. Every fight is just a fight when you're dealing with fighting for your life, man. So I don't know what you YouTubers are saying. Every fight is a fight when you're fighting for your life in a court of law. Been on here long enough, man. Let's get this thing popping. Cop the Book of Raw in Harlem. Be on the lookout for Cash Box. Be on the lookout for Cash Box. And you see how I got my screen very different? I got my joint set up so fly, I can do all types of things with the joint. But remember, the reason why I do this, right? The reason why I do this is to save the youth. Here's one.
Hey, what's going on, man? Murder Mook, Harlem, you know what it is, man. I just want to express how much gratitude I got for Unique. You know what I mean? I was telling him a story, telling him how I felt about, if anything was to go wrong with my career, rap-wise, if, should be slow, and I got so many opportunities to be able to do the wrong shit. When I watch Unique Mecca audio, I feel it, and to my soul, and that's keeping me farthest away from doing anything criminal. anything criminal. He made me think straight, honestly. Made me think straight. Because I've been watching him for about a year, like a year now, maybe. And it just took my mind way off of that. Way off of that. From a year ago, it got rough. For a year ago,
Yeah.
and from watching this man, I just felt like you saved me. You saved me. And I just want to show my gratitude, and I want to say thank you, man. Unique Mecca Audio, anything you need, brother, from me.
All right.
Anything you need, man.
All right.
Love.
All right. So that's what I'm saying, man. That's why we do what we do here at Unique Mecca Audio, man. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I hope we saving at least one of y'all so you can spread this good word to the next. This is how we do our cook bar over here. This is how we do our cook bar. As they say, our sermon. So this is my Sunday sermon, my Friday cook bar. Hope you enjoy this. I hope this could save some of the youth. Let's say a prayer for Lil Durk and all the other ones that's locked up going through these times, and the rest of the YSL young men that's fighting for their life. And I see it, they letting out what they call their ops, like they just wanted to all start all over again. But, you know, it is what it is, man. Cop the book of Raw and Harlem. Cop my man Lou Sims' book. The QR code on the screen work. Cash back coming first quarter in January. We rolling out with a vengeance.
Cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime. Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. Right. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Real. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops. Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the dapper Dan. You eat that again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be whoring uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend a ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community yours, so we can get back to the cheers, cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime.